Monday, 11th of September, 18 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. Here's my latest video blog, number 101. Had a few days to sort of reflect on what's going on, and I've just sort of been keeping my eye on all the different websites with news and putting some tabs up into my browser here so I could share some interesting news with you in relation to what's actually going on. And anyone that's been again watching what's happening in the last 3 or 4 days, we saw this big pullback, which is this first little section here on this Bitcoin graph. This is on Bittrex. So we hit a peak, and I think it was around about 179 billion, which is an all-time high. And then there was a retrace, which is fairly natural and happens very quickly. And this is over 2 days. And then we saw a very, an aggressive pullback. I think it hit about 149 or maybe 140. Something similar to that, maybe just a little bit under billion cap, and then we saw this nice strong surge, and all of a sudden there was some news. Now I happen to be, and you can see this particular drop in the market is very, very, very rapid, and that's over 1 or 2 hours. Now, from what I was watching some activity at the time, and there were certain coins that were being pumped probably about 2 or 3 hours before this dump, and I think from the top of my head, I think Monero was one of them. And when I say a pump, I'm just talking about this little bubble, and there was a couple that I saw just before the news broke about the ICO ban in China, and there was a whole heap of fluff and overhype. They were talking about banning ICOs, they were talking about banning the ICO existing ICO tokens, and there were certain exchanges that went and dumped particular ICOs existing tokens from their listings, and all of a sudden we saw this massive drop in Bitcoin. There was no doubt, absolutely no doubt, that there was 1 or 2 major players that were involved here. They dropped it very, very quickly. I mean, all the millennials weren't exactly sitting there watching the news and anticipating this particular aggressive drop in the market. I wasn't, and I was caught out just like everyone else. Anyone on the inside obviously maximise their return, especially if they're a part of this and they buy back at the bottom. But anyway, so Chinese ICO ban, and then there was a little bit of fake news around that. I don't like that term, fake news. Whatever you want to call it, could be manipulated, it could be alternative, it might be maybe deceptive news, it could be Chinese whispers, any of that stuff where they were talking about the whole crackdown that China was going to ban Bitcoin entirely, and I don't think that's never going to happen. There's too much money to be made in cryptos, there's too much infrastructure in place. This is the future of the monetary system. The only thing is there's 2 sides of the coin. You've got all the decentralized anti-government coins and directives and energy, and then you've got the centralized stuff. So there's going to be a massive run on regulations and bullying. It's just like this power tripping, and that's what this is. And there's no doubt there needs to be a little bit of protection. And I have mentioned this in a previous video, I'd like to see the existing ICOs, especially the decentralized visionaries, get together and create their own decentralized governing body of ICOs, or a witness-based system where we incorporate miners and witnesses, and we have some sort of community-driven, what would you call it, accountability service of some sort, just to keep people in check on the ICOs, just to make sure that people are not investing in illegitimate programs. So rather than the government, that's probably what I'm getting at. I mean, the big key is make government irrelevant. We don't want to be relying on them to do all the regulations and things. We've got to do that. And the more we swing towards that and take responsibility for these things, we can then say, hey, it's okay, government, we don't need you. We've already got our own governing body here. We've got this and we've got this. And all of a sudden we make them redundant. But that's just a perspective of mine. Now, this is Bitcoin. It's going up and down. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. I think you just got to sit this out. I'm not going to give you any trading advice. If anything, a lot of the cryptos or the altcoins are on sale, as they say. you know, they've hit a fairly, you know, low for right at this present time. So you can have a look at that, do your study and work out what's suitable for you. Just going to click along my little tabs here now. Verge, I'm just going to give it another plug. This is one of 5 coins that through all of this ICO drama and dumping, there was absolutely pretty much minimal, well, I can't even see it. If I zoomed in, I think the Chinese dump was here. And when I zoom out, it's like that's a marginal event really, and you can see it went horizontal and then there was a little bit of a surge, a bit of a retrace. So there was a definite pump. No doubt there's some people out there who believe in this coin, whether they want to use it to maximize or create some new Bitcoin leverage or whatever, especially during a downtrend as we saw, or an event-based crisis in the market. But regardless, Verge seems to be very horizontal. About 10, I don't know, it must have been about 20 videos ago, I was telling people, I mean, this is what I was doing. I actually moved some of my funds out of some other cryptos that were always seeming to be hammered with these type of events back into Verge. And what I've done is I've sort of used it as a hedge, because you can see it on these little shelves, if you like. So regardless of the little spikes of energy, they're very horizontal. So that's all I want to share on that. Just Verge seems to be going good guns at the moment. It's going to have a retrace, I think, after some a long period of up. So what goes up must come down. But they've got a lot of good news coming out. Wraith protocols worth looking into. What have I got? Volume seems to be picking up. I always talk about volume speaks volumes. It's a saying in trading. If you want to know what's going on in the markets, you can always go and have a quick look at volume. And if you see some of these coins creeping up, you sort of know that they're about to go on a bit of a run. So that's volume speaks volumes. CoinGecko, there's not much to show. It's just at the moment there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of cryptos are going sideways, and Bitcoin's having some crazy little mini sell-offs at the moment. It's going up a couple of hundred, down a couple of hundred, which seems to be the trend. Silver, I'm going to mention it again. It looks like it's had a little bit of a dip in the last day or so, but it's got this positive energy going upwards, and like I said, keep your eye on it. There's nothing really much to say about that. Global charts, I created this little chart here just to show you the all-time high, and we came down into this low. We had this recovery, and then all of a sudden we had this massive drop down with the ICO drama in China, and at the moment we've just got this helter-skelter chronic up and down trading uncertainty period, which will probably last another couple of days. But the thing about crypto is it just changes. Seems to go in 3 to 7 day cycles, and you just can't predict what's going to happen next. Cointelegraph. I've picked out a couple of little stories. Now, one of them is Estonia. Now, I saw this thing with Estonia saying that they can't make their own digital currency. Now, this is the type of stuff that bothers me. And a lot of people out there are still statists. And what that sort of means is that they believe in the state, they believe in governance, they believe that's the way to go. They wave a flag, and I think a lot of that's indoctrinated. And I sort of understand some of it, but as I get older, I'm just not attracted by it for a lot of reasons, and especially when it comes to our liberty and human freedom and our rights and being able to do things as an individual. And I think that's what we've got to remember. You're an individual, I'm an individual. We should always be able to make our own decisions, especially if we're not hurting anyone. That's the thing. If there's no crime and there's no victims, then we should be able to make the choices that are relative to our existence. Estonia not being able to make their own digital. Now, this has got to do with the EU laying down, or the ECB, or whatever it is, ECB, saying that no member state can introduce its own currency. The currency of the Eurozone is the euro. And obviously they're very concerned about the financial markets. I think the fiat currencies are already under a lot of strain, and we may find that there's going to be a transition over the next 2-3 years towards half crypto, half fiat, and there's going to be a pullback on cash, and it could take 5 years. And I like cash for a lot of reasons. I don't know, it's just what we grew up with, and there's reasons why. We have cash. I think it's a very personal thing. It's a private thing. There's no footprints. You know, if I want to give someone $50, I don't have to tell anyone why I do that. And that's why I like with cryptos, and I like the privacy coins, things like Verge. If someone comes and mows my lawn, and I want to give them some money, I don't have to. I shouldn't have to leave a footprint on my in my bank account if I so choose. And I think that's the power of choosing in life. Now, the fact that they've said to Estonia that they can't make their own digital currency is probably good news for a lot of reasons. They're probably not going to be pushing a euro digital currency or a zone-based or an international currency straight away. Well, maybe international currency, you don't know. They'd need a 2 or 3 year collapse of chaos before that happens. And I think that's the ultimate plan. Out of chaos comes order. Or yeah, that's it. So that's going to happen at some stage. So get ready for that, and then they'll create the problem, and the solution will be, oh well, we've got this digital currency. There might be one for every zone, one for Europe, one for Asia, one for Southeast Asia or whatnot, or North America, that type of zone-based, or it could be a world currency. There'll be a lot of resistance to a world currency, I think. You may find there'll be a series of different currencies, but who knows? At the moment, we're all just crazily watching this crypto world, and I think that any of the currency coins are starting to look a lot stronger now. 50 videos ago, I was talking about how it comes down to fundamentals and other services, and the currencies might start to drift. Now I'm starting to come back and look at the things like Bitcoin, LITECOIN, PIVX, Dash, Verge, these particular cryptocurrencies that are focusing on currency, and if they can implement the infrastructure and the privacy and the community, I think that there's a lot of positives to cryptocurrencies. Moving on from that, the China ban, just a quick one on this. It's temporary. We don't have to freak out. I think it's all, just remembering in trades, in the stock markets and in life, everything's based around emotion. So positive energy, negative energy, fear. There's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, that type of stuff, and doubt. And some of it's inflated in the media, and that's what it's all about, is to create ebbs and flows for the benefit of those who sometimes manufacture some of these events. This type of stuff was probably hyperinflated, no doubt about that. They're just putting in some licensing or regulations, and I think by January, February, you might find that everything is back on track for China. If anything, they're not going to stop buying. The crypto nuts and the millennials in China, they're going to find a way to do what they need to do. Next one is billionaire Howard Marks talks about, this is sort of covering that bit about currency, saying, Bitcoin, there's no reason why Bitcoin can't serve as a currency. And a lot of people are talking about it being a speculative asset, and I understand that as well. At the moment it is, but they just put 500 new ATMs here in Australia. It was 20, and they're putting in 500 more. We've already got things like the 10x cards, and there's some others, those type of that infrastructure. I know PIVX has got a swipe thing. When you look at Verge, they've got all these various different wallets, and for Android and iOS and for your desktop, and all of that type of stuff's coming together. And I think the big thing will be is all these cryptocurrencies, especially the ones that have a greater vision, the ones that actually work together with their infrastructure, I believe will do well. And it's probably something to consider for a lot of them. If you want to beat the banks, the banks work together. So if you want to beat the banks, I think the decentralized cryptocurrencies have to get together and create infrastructure that's going to support that particular network. And I think that needs to be discussed. So maybe anyone who's listening to that, talk about that. It should be a team game. We shouldn't always be so competitive. You don't have to be a Dash lover and a Monero lover and a Verge lover. It should be that how can we work together? Next one is this particular video. I really recommend you go to Adapt 2030. Have a listen to this particular video called China's Planned Restart of ICOs and Cryptocurrency Exchange. Without going into it, it's just a very good video about China's issues and the whole geopolitical zone, and how China has its own ecosystem, and how 380 millennials are going to be, fighting for jobs. And we're talking about the future. They've got a massive population, and cryptos are providing a series of avenues for people to make more money and create freedoms that they couldn't necessarily achieve on the current system. So there's a lot of positives to that, and I do recommend going and seeing this video, just watching it. It's on YouTube. What else? So R3 Consortium. I found this interesting. This is just some stuff in the background. R3, the blockchain-inspired startup servicing banks and financial institutions, has filed a lawsuit against competitor Ripple. So obviously what happened is they created a contract to buy 5 billion XRP tokens at a price of 0.0085, and that must have been a long time, and that's just under a cent. Under a cent a while ago. And the agreement indicated the purchase could be completed in whole or in part through the end of 2009. So if there's documentation there, I think Ripple's in a little bit of issues because they're trying to pull it, I think. They're trying to pull, or they created a lawsuit, they're trying to renege, is probably the better word, on that agreement. So I thought that was interesting. That might put some stress on Ripple. However, they've got so many tokens, I can't see that actually making any dent in their ecosystem, but I just thought I'd share that. EOS update. EOS. We're only at day 75, if you like. It's actually probably period 80 if you want to really count the days, but it's actually period 75, excluding the first 5 days. And to my surprise, it's actually not to my surprise, I did say this at the beginning, there was no doubt the price was going to come down. I thought that the price might be maintained due to specific news. But at this stage, what we're finding, and I'm just going to come down, I haven't refreshed this page, so it's not totally accurate for the moment. But yesterday it was 69 US cents, 58 US cents 2 days ago when we had all the drama. 88. I actually bought a little bit more at 86, and I was really chuffed with myself because it was the second lowest after the first day, which I got in on. But however, there's been 2 or 3 days lower than that, and it looks like from now, we are now lower at a cheaper price than the first 5 days, which was the benchmark in regards to buying EOS, and that's the same on the exchanges. So if you are interested in getting in on EOS, right now it seems to be a little bit of a pocket where the prices come down to that the first 5 days, and it might go a little bit lower. We've still got 300 days to go, or less, 250 days to go, and you might find it comes down to 10 cents, I don't know, and that's why some of these people have gone and tested their luck, and they've just gone and placed their funds across different windows, looking for maybe an ascending or a descending average, depending on how you look at it. So that's all I want to share with EOS, just letting you know that the price has actually hit better than the first 5 days. If you want to know more about EOS, and I think this is the thing, I did a post on my Facebook page. I got Sebastian Fitness, Business and Life, and it's just about stuff and sacred geometry and pyramids and all the stuff that I'm interested in, fitness, and just little brain farts as I come up with things. But you've got to research and study into stuff. You see a lot of crap on Facebook about people getting the shits with someone who says to them, oh, you've got to do your research. Well, you know what? The truth is you've got to do your research. Knowledge, right? If you don't understand something, it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It just means you haven't taken the time to understand the information relevant to give you a broader perspective on what you're looking at. Excuse me. But the message here is you've got to take time out. Now, if you want to know more about EOS, go to EOSIO and read up on what it's all about. And the thing is, Daniel Larimer is very articulate. When he writes, a lot of it can be in-depth and a little bit, some of it's technical. So some people get a little bit exhausted by that. But if you're going to make an investment, what you've got to do is find the elements within this documentation that's going to present to you clarity on what it's all about. If anything, the more information there is, the better. That's how I look at it. If this was a one-page paragraph with a bit of a fluffy video, say, buy my token, It's nowhere near as in-depth as something like this, which is telling you the ins and outs of the technology and the parallels and why it's going to be better. Everything from API nodes, C nodes, database indexes, storage and hosting, all that type of stuff that tells you what you're actually investing in. What else? That's my website. If you're interested in having a little bit of a look, it's just got some random stuff. I do little blogs every now and then. I went on a blog frenzy for a period of time, and I've only done a few recent ones, but I do put all my crypto videos there and some others, and that's all I've got to share with you. So yeah, let me know what you think in the YouTube comments. As I always say, come and support me, or come and have a chat on Steem at SebastianJago.com, and come and have a little look at what I do in regards to the write-ups on these videos. And yeah, just keep your head down, keep looking, keep talking about cryptos, keep reading and studying up on the ones you believe in, and yeah, just stay ahead of the game. That's all you can do. And you know, knowledge is everything. And yeah, be good. Tune into the next video. Thanks, guys.